Hello, my name is Jacqueline Gannon, and I am your ADN 205 maternal newborn nursing instructor for fall of 2021. So, a little bit about me. I have been an RN for 33 years, and I have worked in a lot of different areas: mother baby, pediatrics, med surg, long term care, school nursing, camp nursing, diabetic education, oncology, gerontology, to name a few. Um, I have my most recent hospital experience is at Lehigh Valley in patient oncology. And then I left there and went into the education department when I was going back for my master's and was an ed specialist there. And then I left Lehigh Valley in 2008 and went to Pocono Medical Center and worked as a diabetic educator for a couple of years. When I finished my master's in nursing education, I was an adjunct for L-Tri-C, which kind of takes me back. I was actually a graduate of L-Tri-C. So for those who are LPNs, I actually started off in the LPN program and then went on for my LPN to RN and so on and so forth. So I started in 2000. Gosh, the time starts to fly, but I want to say it's like 2013, 2014. I was an adjunct for L-Tri-C. I also adjunct for Penn State and for DeSales University. And then I started teaching full time in 2016. And I initially taught fundamentals and ADN 150, 160, and 173. And I've been teaching for the past 3 years now. I've been teaching mother baby. I have I'm married. I have 4 children. I'm sorry, 3 children and 4 grandchildren. And it's weird videotaping this. So anyway, I have 4 grandchildren, 3 adult children, all daughters. And I like to travel. I like to be outside. I like to hike, anything outdoorsy I like to do. I have 3 dogs, but generally there's 6 dogs. My one youngest daughter lives with us right now. She moved back home from North Carolina. Class time. So the day group, I know that Banner has like a squirrely time. We just rounded up to 9:30 to 12:30. It was like 9:34 to 12:55, or I don't know, some kind of strange time, but we just made it easy to, 9:30 to 12:30, and PM is 4 to 7. There may be some recorded lectures like this one. And if there's a recorded lecture, obviously no class attendance is required. This was a reminder for online clinical. So sometimes we weren't able to get all of the clinical units secured. We did the best we can with what we have, with the amount of students, amount of sites available, adjuncts, which you will meet on Friday. So sometimes we're going to be virtual. Other times you're going to be coming to the school in a sim lab or in the lab itself, and your adjuncts will be working with you there. So always go back to the time in Banner. That's where I based my times. However, this coming Friday, August 27th, your first clinical, all students day, evening, all cohorts, Tamaqua, Schnecksville, are all going to meet via Zoom. And I gave you the Zoom links, and I'll show them to you when we go on the campus. And it's going to be this coming Friday, August 27th at 8 o'clock. I would recommend logging on about 7:45. I will probably log on about 7:15. That way, if there's anybody has any questions before we get started, they can certainly, that way we are ready to go at 8 o'clock. So if you're a day student, you're going to have OB every Friday. And if you're a weekend evening, you're going to have OB peds every Monday and the second and fourth Saturday. So a little bit about professionalism. I feel that nursing is a profession and we should be professional in all aspects. Always think that everywhere you go, you are meeting a potential employer. Now, I have been a nurse for 33 years, and that is all in the Valley. So pretty much wherever I go, I'm running into somebody that I know. So, maintain professionalism in how you interact and how you communicate when you email, not, hey, professor, good morning, Professor Gannon, good afternoon, Professor Gannon, that sort of thing. Yeah, email, in your email signature line, put your cohort and tell me, are you Morgan? Are you Schnecksville? I have a lot of students, over 80 students. So it just makes it a lot easier when I look and see that email. Oh, they're emailing me from Morgan. They're emailing me from the evening group. Dress during Zoom, what you would wear in the classroom, keep it clean. But what you wear in a classroom is fine. For Zoom, for your lecture online. Your clinical, whether it's Zoom, hospital, simulation, classroom, you're going to be in your full clinical uniform. Attitude, I don't know how much I can stress having a good positive attitude really gets you far. Whining and complaining, we all know, it's you focus on what you're here for. You're here to become an RN. So keep a good attitude, maintain good behavior. I put the Gallup poll, nurses are one of the number one most respected profession. So we want to keep it that way. And email etiquette, I have a little link here for email etiquette. Let me see if it comes up here. So this is just like how to email a professor, and it could be for anything. So just a couple of little things. Always introduce yourself. Many of you have already been communicating with me, in the end of summer or just recently. Dear Professor Gannon, good afternoon, good morning. It's always nice to have like a little nicety, like even when I email, and I'm a student myself, and I email my professors, and my professors are doctors. So I'm like, good morning, good afternoon, Dr. Berger. If I haven't spoken to them a while and I'm looking, this is Jackie from your fourth cohort. I always try to have like a nicety. I hope this email finds you well. I hope you're having a nice summer. And there was many that said that. I really appreciate it. There was many that said, I hope you're having a nice summer. Hope you're having a great day, that sort of thing. So use polite language, keep it brief, be concise. Tell me, what is exactly that you are asking me or telling me. Honesty, be honest and direct. One of the things I can say, I do take off points for attendance and for clinical, but please reach out to me. There's all kinds of circumstances. So, if you can't if you're going to be late, if you have your 3-year-old running around the house during lecture and they're getting really loud and you need to put those kind of things, or you have, if you have to go to the bathroom, take your camera off, just send me a little private message through chat, say, hey, run into the restroom real quick. Or, sometimes some of the content that we cover might be a little bit, how do I want to put it? Sometimes just a little bit difficult to handle. We are going to have a sexual assault nurse examiner talk to us, where we're going to have different guest speakers. We're going to, one area we address is perinatal loss. So there's infertility, STDs. So sometimes we get into some things that can be difficult for some students, and I do not need to know your history, your background, your story, unless you choose to share that with me. But you can always just send me a quick chat, private chat, or an email saying, I'm going to step away for a few minutes. This is just very difficult for me to manage. Spare the details. If you're missing class because of an injury, state that. However, if you find yourself going into detail about your blood loss, extension of emergency room visit, consider eliminating some details. So just kind of look through this. Do pay attention to your subject line. Tell me a little bit about what it is. It really helps when I want to go back. Do address the recipient in a respectful manner. State the reason for your email immediately, and do offer 3 to 5 meeting times if you do need to meet in person. So I think that's pretty much the don'ts. Don't omit essential information. Don't be curt and informal. Um, don't ask questions that are covered in the syllabus. So I do cover a lot of information. So take a look through what I have first. I even do that myself before I reach out to my professors. I kind of look and see, you know, is that on our Blackboard? We use Blackboard, not Canvas, but is that on our Blackboard shell? Did she share that with us? Let me just look real quick. And don't wait until the last minute. If something is due at 11:59, don't wait until 11 o'clock at night to do that. And I won't be responding to your email at 11 o'clock at night. I think I covered everything. How to be successful. I use the book. My tests come from the book, although they are application level. So they're not knowledge level. So just, be careful about that. I'm looking to see how are you applying it. And I really bring that knowledge from your previous courses into OB. So I just put here, this is just the generalization that you should study 3 hours for every credit. So 9 hours a week or 1.5 hours a day. Read the chapter, especially look through your objectives and take the chapter and compare it to my notes. So kind of go back and forth. Always read the chapter prior to class. I will have pre-class quizzes. Take your CLG seriously. I do ask questions from the CLG. Practice NCLEX questions. I said Davis, but there's all kinds. And, read some more, ask questions. One of the things the students brought to my attention is staying online for a few minutes afterwards and coming online a few minutes early. So if there's any questions, I can address those. We do have ed support services. We do have tutoring available. I know that's all on the website. So if that's something that you need, if you have accommodations, and what I mean by that is if you have extended testing time, if you have permission to have someone take notes, if you have permission to record, because otherwise I don't allow recording of my lectures. If that is something that you have that in your accommodations, I do need you to schedule a one-on-one. We'll do that via Zoom so that we can make sure that your quizzes and your tests and all of your assignments have the extended time allotted for you. Seek early, seek out help early. Don't wait until the third exam. Resources. Your LTRIC website has a slew of resources. There's Microsoft Office 365. It can be installed up to 5 personal devices, SPSS, Adobe, student remote desktop, and there's a whole list of free software that's available, student technology handouts, student help desk. So there is so much out there for your success. Some housekeeping items to address. Your clinical schedule will be given to you on Friday. When you meet with me, I will go over your clinical schedule. You may get your clinical schedule for pediatrics, which we do combine those two. So you may see that on Thursday. But if you have any questions related to OB, please hold on to your questions, jot them down somewhere, and wait until we meet on Friday. And we're going to meet on Friday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to talk about ADN handbook, student employment, student concerns, and I'll readdress that handbook, but please be familiar. We did update the handbook again for the 2021-2022 academic year. Review this often. Zoom classroom expectations. And this is new. As we all know, we had to transition to online on March of 2020. So I am going to read through these. So Zoom attendance. Class takes place on Zoom during the class times listed on the class schedule or via pre-recorded lectures. This is our classroom. Appropriate classroom behavior and dress is expected. A couple of issues I had in the past with students laying in bed, students going shopping, and I'll log those students out if they're inappropriate on where they are. So it is our classroom. So be respectful of myself, of your fellow classmates, and of your own self. Classroom attendance is required, and a classroom attendance requires a shirt without writing on it. I think that just means like anything can be offensive. Full clinical attire. So The only time you'll be in your everyday clothes is for lecture, for your Tuesday, if you're in Morgan, or your Wednesday, if you're in Maine lecture. Any clinical, whether it's simulation, whether it's online, virtual clinical, face-to-face clinical, clinical in the classroom, clinical anywhere, it's going to be in your scrubs. You want to have your ID there. You want to have your hair up. You don't want to have any dangled earrings, no piercings, no tongue rings. So I think you're allowed to have one pair of studded earrings. This would not even be permissible. I have a necklace on right now. You want to have your tattoos covered. So just want to make sure that you're professional. Students are expected to be present and ready to participate by the start of the class. So please join each remote class meeting at least 5 minutes early. Late arrivals and early dismissals will result in professionalism point deductions. If a student is greater than 5 minutes late for clinical, they will be dismissed for the day and added to the clinical makeup during finals week. So really, really take your clinical seriously. Students must be visible on the video to be counted. So make sure that your video is working. We have computers at the school that you can come into the library if you're having trouble. They also rent some out, but you'd have to get there early and make those arrangements. You should find a quiet place to take part in remote class, and this promotes engagement and focus, which leads to interest and success. Inappropriate presence during Zoom class clinical, i.e., like I said, lying in bed, will not be tolerated and will result in clinical absence if not remediated, and will be dismissed from the day's class or lecture or clinical. OB clinical orientation, again, Friday, this coming Friday, August 27th, is your first clinical. So this will be put on your assignment log. I hope that you're all familiar with your assignment logs. I have the Zoom meeting there, 0800 to 1400. You will be having a lunch break, and then you're going to be taking your medical math exam online from 1 to 2, and then you're done after that. And I will post an agenda on Canvas under the course documents. Clinical assignments, again, reviewed syllabus for expectations. All missed clinical and clinical assignments must be made up, or the student will receive an incomplete for the course grade. Makeups will be added to the end of the semester. No changes will be made during the semester. So for example, if you missed a clinical on Friday, well, there really wouldn't be another Friday for you to make it up, so you wouldn't be getting like a emailed an assignment, hey, do this reading or whatever, and it's made up. I don't work that way. I have the student, if they're absent, they get added to the end. Students must maintain all up-to-date healthcare requirements in Castle Branch bridges, and we will go over more of that during clinical orientation. But I do want to bring up, I'll pull it up on my phone, and I'll reiterate this on Friday, but we got some emails from Director Van Buren in response to the COVID vaccine. So let me just find that real quick. As you all know, that Pfizer has been FDA approved. Let's see, she asked me to share stuff. If I can't find it, I'll definitely make sure it's written down, because it was just, oh, here we go. Please share with your students. Please share the following message. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fall 2021. We would like to wish you all an amazing semester, and I'll post this on announcements also. Just a brief update. One, the COVID policy mandates that will become policy for our clinical sites will be effective on the date that vaccine receives official FDA approval, which is today for Pfizer. The deadline for completion will be October 28th, or 2 months following the mandate, whichever is latest. We have not received the official exemption information from St. Luke's as of this time. The only communication received is that exemptions will be very limited. The last day to drop classes without financial obligations is this Friday, August 27th. If you wish to defer your continuance in the program until next year, please reach out to Director Van Buren before 3 p.m. on Friday. All right, so that was the one thing she wanted me to share. I believe there was another one, but I'll make sure I will have all those posted for you on announcements. Student employment. I do understand that many of you do work. It does make it very difficult. I will be honest with you. The students who work full time and have a lot of outside obligations really have a difficult time with our nursing curriculum because it is very rigorous, especially in the second year. So make sure that you're really setting priorities and really managing your time well. Whatever works. I've had some students tell me that they get up at 3 or 4 in the morning and they study and they do all their reading before the children wake up and before life kind of gets really crazy. I have to agree. Again, I'm a student myself. I'm hoping to finish in December. I hope I don't go to January, but I'm hoping to graduate in December. And I get up at 4 a.m. I work from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. on my schoolwork that I'm a student in. That works for me because I'm not obligated to any meetings. I'm not teaching. I have no emails to address between 4 and 7 a.m. So that is my time, and it has really worked well for me. So outside responsibilities such as employment are not considered acceptable excuses for a student's inability to meet curriculum requirements. So just really be careful with letting your school your work and your school interfere. Now, granted, I understand bills. You have car insurance. You have rent to pay. You have a mortgage to make. You have food to put on the table. Car payments, et cetera, et cetera. Student concerns, I'm not going to read through this whole thing for you, but this is the chain of command. So hopefully you're familiar with the chain of command. So the first person, if you have a concern, should be me. Okay. If you're on the clinical unit or it's something in clinical, then your clinical instructor, and then hopefully your clinical instructor is relaying it to me. And then, and if it's in clinical, it's your clinical instructor. If it's classroom, it's me. Then it goes to your director of nursing, Director Van Buren, then to the Dean of Healthcare Sciences, which is Dean Kohler, then the College Ombudsman. And I did give you this link here. What not to do. I think I told you previously about videotaping. So no tape recording, no video recording of any sort of any of my lectures and PowerPoints. Students need special permission with accommodations made through the Ed Support Services in order to do that. And that is considered academic integrity and plagiarism. If a student is recording without permission, it's really considered stealing because these are created by the faculty and they are not being distributed freely out there. So we take a lot of time and put a lot of time and work into what we put together to give to our students. That is what your syllabus looks like. Hopefully at this point, everybody has perused through the syllabus and really got yourself familiar with it. I'll jump back to the syllabus. I'm just going to kind of go through there and then I'm just going to go online to Canvas. So review that syllabus often. Anytime you have a question, go back. What did she say? And it should all be right there for you. Highlights, we're going to talk about important dates. I would highly, highly, highly recommend having an agenda or something where you write all those due dates in. Just sit down and do that immediately. Let me see. I do know I printed out for my own reference too. So as you can see here, I printed it out. So whatever works for you. Exams, your final exam is everyone takes it on the same day. Obviously, days and evenings take it at a little bit of different time. Clinical evaluation due dates, I will go over those. And there is a group project. And my hint for you to do well and be successful in the group project is follow my rubric. I'm looking, do you have this? Bam, you got those points. Do you have this? Bam, you got those points. So not too terrible if you follow my rubric. There are weekly quizzes. You will not have one this week, but there are weekly quizzes. I want to say the first one, I want to say is this coming Tuesday or Wednesday. Not like 24th. I want to say 31st and 1st, but we'll pull Canvas up and I'll show you. ATI, we utilize ATI for our content mastery. So you'll be taking the newborn maternal newborn content mastery. And I do add extra points to your final exam grade if you do a level 2 or level 3. I do have the cut scores posted, so take a look at those. That way you know. ATI is worth 5% of your grade. And then I have the dates here for your practice, your comp, and your practice B. Clinical learning guides. There are 7 clinical learning guides and they have specific due dates. And I have the drop boxes in your clinical Canvas shell, not your lecture Canvas shell. So you should have 2. You should have your course. Well, you would probably have 4 because you'll have pediatrics as well. But for OB, for ADN 205, you will have a lecture one with all my PowerPoints, my modules, the quizzes, the whole kit and caboodle. And then you'll have your clinical one, and all I have is your clinical assignment Dropbox. So if you're doing virtual, where you drop your work, and then I have your clinical learning guides, and then your clinical instructors will be going over your clinical learning guides in clinical. I do use the clinical learning guides and pull questions from there. You will be doing one nursing journal that you're going to summarize in APA format, and it needs to be nursing. So the first time I'm pretty good about that. After that, I will say, nope, I need you to redo that. That is from Canada or whatever, right? And or that's a medical journal, not a nursing journal. So what would be a hint? Like if it's a nursing journal, what word would you expect to be in the journal? Hopefully nursing, right? So we'll take a look at the CLGs when I get in the Canvas. Med safety test, you need to get a 90% on the med safety test. You'll have 3 exams. I give 100 questions online on Canvas. Oh, and I do allow one-on-one time to review the exams. I will not pull the exam itself up. I'll just go over content. Here's an area that you didn't do well in. Maybe it's on preeclampsia, so I'll kind of give you some ideas. Any student who wishes to challenge an exam, they need to have 3 resources, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And if you want to review your exam, don't wait until the last exam and then email me and say I want to make an appointment and do all 3 exams at once, because I won't do that. I do use Lockdown Browser and Respondus, so make sure that you have those working, and I'm very strict about the cheating policy. And that goes into academic integrity. Canvas, you'll see my intro, a discussion board. I don't think I have that in there this semester. I think I pulled that out because I thought you had enough to do. Check your email in the morning, in the evening, check Canvas. I will put blast messages out in announcements. Use your L-Tri-C email only. And I'll try to do most of my grading on Tuesdays, except for exams. A lecture format. So I've had students ask me, how do I lecture? I'm kind of all over the place in a good way. It's organized chaos. No, not really. So I use traditional PowerPoints. A lot of times I use my PowerPoints just as a guide so that I don't go off in a tangent into a story, and next thing you know, you got to have to reel me back in. So I use that as a guide. I do a lot of questioning. I put you in small groups. I ask questions and I let you either raise your hand or put it in the chat. I'll do flipped classroom. So I'll say, I want you to listen to this lecture, and then we're going to do a case study based on that. You may have some recorded lectures, activities, guest speakers. Class attendance is very important. Missed class results in 7 points deducted from professionalism grade. Greater than 5 minutes will result in 3 points deducted from professionalism grade, and as well as greater than 5 minutes leaving early as well. That's just a screenshot of all your due dates, but it is in your syllabus, all the due dates. And I'm going to go over the syllabus. I'm reading. Is there anything else? Mentoring. If you are in the SNAP mentoring program, if they are still doing that, just let me know at some point. I do actually give you a little bonus for that. We're going to review the handbook, and there is a maternal newborn presentation. Your groups have already been made, so you will see your groups in Canvas already. And we'll talk a little bit more about as we go through. I don't want to like completely overwhelm you. Get what you need to know, and then we'll start chatting about it. I believe your group topic for your maternal newborn presentation is September 12th. I want to say, yeah, it is due September 12th. And most of the stuff I have due on Sunday night by 11:59, just to kind of give you a heads up there. You most certainly can work ahead. So if you have CLGs you want to get done, you can certainly do those early. The only thing you can't do early, obviously, are your exams and your quizzes. Talked about the med math test. All right, so let's go into Canvas. So when you first come in to Canvas, you have your order here. You can go into your announcements. And that was the first announcement that I had given you. And use these links. I also have a document with all the links, but some of the adjuncts are still getting those around to me. So let's go back to home. All right, so I have orientation here. So you have my PowerPoint that we're going over right now. We are going to have a sexual assault nurse examiner do a presentation during orientation. So I will share her PowerPoint afterwards because there is test questions in exam 1 based on her presentation. There's everything you need for medical math. Here's those course documents. Nursing labs. I am going to assume, which is probably not the best word to use, but I'm going to assume that you know your labs. But here are your labs, and these are the values that I want you to know. Let me go back. Okay, we talked about the labs. Your syllabus. This is pretty hefty, and I really want to spend some time on your syllabus. Okay, my office hours are by appointment only, but I can tell you they are an hour before class, so from 8 to 9, and then an hour afterwards, after class. There's the course description, there's the course objectives, your textbooks that we talked about that you need. I put a little caveat in there that the instructor reserves the right to change the schedule work at any time. However, I would notify you. It wouldn't be just like, well, didn't you see it change? Like, no, I would notify you. These are those different things I was telling you about that you have the ability to download. Attendance, I already told you that each class or clinical absence is -7 points to your professionalism grade. Any lateness or early departure greater than 5 minutes for class is -3 points. However, for clinical, we don't really make a lot of exceptions. If you're greater than 5 minutes for clinical, you'll be asked to return home or to log off of Zoom, and you'll be added to the end of the semester for the clinical makeup. There's those requirements I was telling you about for Zoom. Please look through those. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and read every single one. We talked about the attendance policy. What am I grading you on? That's always what you want to know, right? What are you getting graded on? So you'll have a grade on your group presentation, which is 5% of your grade. Your clinical learning guides, there's 7 of those, and they go into your professionalism grade. So if you're late handing those in, your professionalism grade will also go down. You'll have a weekly quiz. I'm not giving the handbook quiz this year because our handbook was changing and I didn't get a chance to update it. So you're lucky. ATI clinical assignments, of course, you'll have your exams. So this is your written work. Important dates. These are those dates I was telling you about. Oh dear. And I'm insisting that you guys are coming in on the 24th. Main campus is Wednesday, the 25th. I'm not sure. first day of, yeah. So it's, this is Tuesdays, this is Wednesdays. I'm not sure why I kept insisting that I want to bring everybody in all together. Can't do that. You guys have peds that day. ATI information, there is when your topic is due. So you're going to let me know what your topic is for your group. And then you're going to submit your PowerPoint by the 28th of November by 11:59. And then you'll present. So Morgan will present on the 30th and Maine will present on the 1st. There's your exam dates. There's your CLG dates, your clinical evaluations when they're due. I have those dates there for you. So pretty self-explanatory, all the dates. Let's see. Medication exam, I pretty much have everything in there. All right, let's talk about the weekly quizzes. So I will throw out the lowest quiz grade. And the reason I do that is if you do not take the quiz prior to class, it's a 0. It is only worth 5% of your grade. So honestly, it really does not affect the students. And I honestly think that usually students only miss one and then they kind of get the hang of it. So set your timer. I'm huge. Like if you know you're going to have a quiz every week, go into your phone, go into your calendar, put it on your calendar, put quiz, put a reminder. So, and the reason why is I go over the answers. As soon as we start lecture, I go over the answers from the quiz. So that's really putting, it's really not fair to the students who went on time. So you will have from 3, I'm saying the evening class. For the day class, you'll have from 8:50 to 9 to take your quiz. And they're 5 questions. They're based on the readings. They are knowledge based. They are not high level thinking questions. There is the rubric for your group project. Clinical requirements, we went over those. Virtual clinical guidelines, just please really make sure that you read through this. Again, I can't stress it enough that you need to have your uniform, your badge, your name badge, your hair up, and nails. I know probably my skin's really dry, but your nails, I don't want to see the nail extending there. So no polish, no tattoos, make sure everything's covered. Failure to meet the minimum requirements for clinical hours on the clinical schedule will result in a failure for the course. So you need to pass both the clinical aspect and the lecture didactic piece. Medication cards, I will actually combine those medication cards with your CLGs. So let's jump down to your CLGs. Okay, there's your criteria for your CLG. And then your first one is due September 5th. And then your second one, the 19th. So I believe it's kind of like every other week. So your first one, so I give you 5 questions, and then you need to obtain one current less than 5 years nursing journal article related to prenatal needs of the pregnant woman, and then submit a 1-page summary of the article. So there's 7 of those. There we go. Okay, ATI testing, I think I went over the due dates for that. There is the rubric that I use. There's the grading criteria. Again, remember your CLGs, whatever, 1 point per day late. You must get a C+ or a 78. I do not round up. So if you have a 77.8, it's a 77. So really be careful about that. Here is what you got. So you will have 3 exams worth 45% of your grade, 15, 15, and 15. Your final exam is worth 30% of your grade. You'll have your ATI, maternal newborn comp test, and that is worth 10% of your grade. You'll have your presentation, which is 5%, your professionalism, which is 5%. And I kind of broke down your professionalism is based on your classes, OB boot camp, if it means that we bring you in and go over everything all at once, your clinical days and your clinical learning guides. And a lot of stuff you can kind of read through. And then I broke it down here by week, by week, by week, by week, what you're doing. So for week 1 orientation and then intimate partner violence. Because remember, I told you the sexual assault nurse examiner is going to do a presentation. So it takes you through everything. I did give you a break halfway through. The college is closed on October 5th. So what I decided to do, because it always falls on a Tuesday, and so I didn't feel like it was fair that Tuesday didn't have class, but Wednesday always did. So I was able to make it work in the schedule. So I'm giving you both Tuesday and Wednesday off. So the students will have Wednesday, and that gives you a chance to work on your group projects. Here is therapeutic communication techniques. So definitely look through that. And then college-wide policies, procedures, and that sort of thing. All right, let's go back. So I showed you the syllabus, labs, Zoom meetings for the fall. I will update this as soon as all the adjuncts get their Zoom links in. Now, most of you're going to have clinical is going to be face-to-face. Even like, I think I reserved like sim rooms and stuff like that. Can you go any slower there, little computer? All right, bear with it. Oh my, it is really being slow. All right, I'm just gonna, I don't have the patience. All right, so here are the Zoom links. There's my contact information. If you do need to text me, please identify yourself. Hi, Professor Gannon. This is Miranda Cortez from your, what is Miranda? She is from my evening, from the evening cohort. And then tell me what your question is. I prefer email, but if it's an emergency, you really need to get hold of me, you certainly can text me. But if it's you're on your way to clinical, you're going, heading up to the hospital and you got a flat tire. Well, hopefully you'll be reaching out to your clinical instructor as well. Please let me know. So here's my office hours. There's the link by appointment only. So email me. I'm not going to have those links open unless you email me. And so it's by appointment only. And then there's a Zoom link for Tuesday, Wednesday, PM. Now, because you are getting this recorded, you absolutely can jump on to Wednesday's day or Wednesday's evening if you prefer to have this more of a face-to-face instead of a recorded. And then I'll have all your clinical instructors there. All right, that's that one. Whoops, where are we at here? Now look at that, it's still spinning. Okay, all righty, let's go back here. So handbook, we'll go back to reading assignments. Let's see if this spins. Whew, look at that, it did not spin. All right, so here I have everything broken down. Hey, I got the date right, 8/24, 8/25. If you see anything that really stands out, they're like, wait a minute here. Because I actually, take what I do from the year before, I tweak it, fix it, change all the dates and resubmit it. That's what I was working on all day Sunday. So there is, I teach by modules. So I do module 1, module 2, module 3. So module 1, you'll have, module 1, you have 3 PowerPoints, module 2, you have 3 PowerPoints, and at module 3, you'll have. So there is your objectives. There's what we're doing. And so on and so forth. Okay, we talked about the reading list. Here is all your PowerPoints. Some things aren't open yet, as you can see. Here's your quizzes. So yes, your first quiz will be chapter 4, August 31st. Second one, September 7th, September 14th. And yes, it goes 6, 7, and then 5. Just so you're not think you're losing it. Clinical information assignment log. I need you to fill this out every week. So you'll put one there for Friday. And group project, exams, and so on and so forth. All right. Let's go to that handbook. Really become familiar with the nursing handbook. very important. Um, it really spells out. The biggest area that we have trouble with is clinical. I have sent students home with nail polish. I've sent students home who are late. I love you guys, but I want to graduate professional nurses who take nursing seriously. So let's see here. You know, one of the things I want to tell you, and a lot of people don't tell students, and I know many of you are working, is now you would have to get special permission from Director Van Buren, but some students struggle with these heavy duty classes, taking ADN 205 and 215 together, or 235, 245 together, especially if they're taking other classes. Maybe they still need a psych, a soc, whatever, microbiology. So if you find yourself in that situation, talk to us, meet up with us and say, this is really hard taking these, because there are 5 credits. So say, hey, I'm having a really hard time. Can I please consider doing one class at a time? I always want to put it out there. I just want to get to definitely read academic honesty, because it's more than just cheating on tests. It's borrowing people's CLGs, it's sharing people's work, talking about the test questions, all those things. The hair on the back of my head stands up when I hear students talking about a test question. There's your professional expectations. Respect. RESPECT. Maintain respect. I think you have respect, you have everything. There's your clinical guidelines. I'll go over this. Okay, days and times of clinical are subject to change. If we had no units and we could only get a unit on a Saturday, I may say, you know what? We only have Saturdays. We're going to switch. I mean, I'm not, but I'm just saying that it can be subject to change. The clinical start and end times can vary from what's in the published schedule. I do try to keep to it as best as possible. Clinical days, hours, and shift are subject to alterations based on the needs of the clinical site, guest speaker availability, need for testing, or any other reason. Saturday clinicals are always held on the 2nd and 4th Saturday. There may be simulation days scheduled on Saturdays other than the 2nd and 4th. And again, we try to be as respectful of your time as you are as well. It is the student's responsibility to be available during those times. 205 and 215 can have clinical on either Thursday or Friday, even if taking one class. Same thing. Missions, well, you're already there. Bear with me here. I just want to make sure I kind of cover everything. I mean, I want you to read more of it, obviously. Attendance policy, extremely important. Clinical absences is spelled out there. Clinical requirements. Disclosure of injury exposure, also pregnancy. So if you are pregnant or planning, you're trying to get pregnant and become pregnant throughout the semester, please reach out to myself and to Director Van Buren. Dress code. All right, let's go over this. Okay, because this is one area that I still have problems with. So the student is required to wear the L-Tri-C uniform with black scrub pants. No jeans or yoga pants are permitted. Mostly black or white duty shoes or sneakers. They must be clean and tied. Open clogs of any kind or campus shoes are not permitted. Black or white socks are required. Undergarments must not be visible at any time. Uniforms must appropriately fit at all times, including when sitting and bending over. The uniform, shoes, and socks must be clean and in good condition. Clinical college photo ID must be visible at all times. If a student arrives at clinical without an appropriate identification, they will be sent home and will need to make up the clinical day. Students are permitted to wear long sleeve, plain, unadored t-shirts under their uniforms, white, maroon, or black only. Hair must be pulled short or pulled back and not contained to be off and to be contained to be off of the face and collar. No large barrettes or hair ornaments are permitted. Hair should be of natural color. Unacceptable colors may include, but not limited to, purple, pink, green, orange, or blue. Facial hair must be clean, trimmed, kept, and not extend over the jawline. Head coverings are not permitted unless serving cultural or religious purposes, and they must be clean, solid black, maroon, or white. Rings other than a wedding band are not permitted. No other jewelry except a watch with a second hand is permitted. Visible body piercings are prohibited except for one small post-style earring may be worn per each lobe. Visible tattoos must be covered. We talked about cosmetics of natural color. Please refrain from heavy perfumes, aftershaves, colognes, because they can be very offensive to patients, especially if they have respiratory issues. Appropriate hygiene and use of deodorant is required. Nails should not be visible above the fingertips to ensure safe care to patients, even if you're online. Let me repeat that. Nails should not be visible above the fingertips to ensure safe care to the patients, even if you're online. Artificial nails, nail polish, nail art, and nail glitter may not be worn. And the dress code is in effect in all clinical, simulation, laboratory, and virtual settings unless otherwise directed by the nursing faculty. There is policy for the protection of pregnant and or breastfeeding students. Student advising, I think pretty much. Withdrawal policy, we talked about that. Your GPA. Support services for veterans. Ombudsman services, and then a bunch of incoming checklists you won't need. So I think I pretty much covered everything. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that we didn't cover. All right. All right. Thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to meeting you guys on Friday. Have a great day.